And welcome back to Public Affairs on Peach. This morning we have taken a look at child sex abuse in light of the scandal and allegations of a cover-up at Penn State University. Joining us this morning is Luis Ramos. He's the CEO of the network, which is based here in Atlanta. The network pioneered whistleblower hotlines more than 25 years ago. Mr. Ramos, thanks for joining us this morning.
Thank you, Brandon.
It's a good thing that laws have been in place and make sure that your employers have one in place, because what we've seen happen here at Penn State University, a grad assistant at the time, Coach Mike McQueary, allegedly saw his boss, an assistant football coach, in the shower with a very young boy, raping this young boy. Now, McQueary, this grad assistant, says, well, I went to Coach Joe Paterno. I went to the head coach and told him. A lot of people said the reason why they never spoke up, even one of the alleged victims says, well, you can't tell on Coach Sandusky. You know, you can't tell on him because he's a man of authority.
Right.
And McQueary, the grad assistant at the time, feared or claims to have feared possibly losing his job. What do you tell people out there who are witnessing a horrendous crime, a young child being raped, but they don't say anything out of their own fear of losing their own jobs?
Yeah, it's a terrible situation to be in, and I think your last guest said that you need to go to the police in these situations. We advise our clients to do the same thing. If you're seeing illegal activity, make sure that people know that they have to go outside of the organization. But what I would tell you, Brandon, is that what we really see works is when organizations really communicate from the top down that whistleblowing is actually not something that is scorned upon, but actually something that the organization needs. They need eyes and ears in the field to see what's happening. And so many of the most progressive and enlightened organizations today are really not just putting in place whistleblower programs because they're mandated to do so by law. They're putting these programs in place because it helps them to capture information that ultimately protects their reputation, protects their financial standing, protects their ability to return an investment to their investors. And so what we see happening a lot is that companies are actually going out and talking about, here's what programs we have in place, here's why those programs are in place, and here's what protections are afforded to you as a potential whistleblower. Starting with that tone from the top is the most important thing that we see, and what we highly recommend that our clients do. So have your CEO, have your president, have your general manager in a division really communicate to the entire population, here's the program that we have in place, here's why we put it in place, and we encourage you to use it. We're not going to be punishing you if you use it.
Is this like the prime example where you have a football program as powerful and big as Penn State University, one of the most winningest coaches in any sports, right? Joe Paterno, the head football coach, and we've seen the university president has been fired. A lot of the top levels have all been let go and fired for, in essence, covering up because they didn't want something like this to ruin the university's name.
Yeah.
How do you, if your university president is covering it up and not going to police, how do you then set an example that whistleblowing is okay and you won't lose your job? It almost looks, in this case, that this kid, McQueary, as a grad assistant, knew he couldn't come forward because he would be let go.
Yeah, again, I think that you have to start by setting that right kind of tone. And you mentioned this case of Penn State University and the fact that there was a cover-up. You know, everyone says, gosh, I thought I did the right thing by telling the person above me, but somebody above them never did something about it. What we've put in place in our programs is escalation mechanisms that go to the very top. This is the reason why the Sarbanes-Oxley law, which was passed in 2002, has reporting that goes not just to the CEO or to the CFO, but also goes to the board of directors or to the audit committee. The same mechanism that applies in corporate America can apply in these public sector programs. So we've got a number of university systems that utilize our services. What they do is that they create escalation processes where they say, if the issues that are reported meet these criteria, we don't want you to just tell the head of the athletic department or the person who's in charge of that grant. We want you to tell the Board of Regents. So you get outside of the specific university, and now it goes to a group that is less concerned about their reputation at the university level and more concerned about what's happening in this institution of higher learning and what's the ultimate impact, not just to this university, but to the entire system of universities that fall under it.
All right, I have about 45 seconds left. There's somebody sitting out there at work, let's say we'll use this football program, and says, you know what, I did see rape happening. I saw child sex abuse happening. who's the first person I go to? Do you go to somebody at the university, or do you recommend no, you go to the police first and then go to your boss?
Yeah, I would recommend the latter. I would recommend if you actually saw illegal activity, you saw a child being abused or raped, and in this case, I think Mike McQuarrie said that he walked in and saw the act being committed in a shower. This is not a, gosh, I wonder what was going on.
I heard through the grapevine type thing.
I saw him touch him inappropriately. This was a sex act
rape
with a child. I think you call the police, you call the authorities immediately, then you tell your supervisor or your boss about it.
That way they don't convince you not to go to police.
Exactly.
It's already been done.
Exactly right.
All right, very good. Well, we appreciate your time here, Luis Ramos, and certainly a lot more questions. We can go on and on about this, kind of protecting the rights of workers and those who do whistleblow, because that's how we keep corruption out, but oftentimes not the case. All right, stay with us. We will be right back after a commercial break.